So the theme of our lecture today is the cardiovascular system. But first of all, I want to recollect a little bit the theme of previous lecture. And its theme was human and animal physiology concerning digestive system, yes? So from previous lecture, do you remember what is digestive system? Who remembers? Keratmir?
Digestive system is a system of organs where food acting in physical and chemical reactions to provide the body with absorbable vitamins and nutrition.
Okay, thank you. Next questions concerns the organs of the digestive system, and you have to tell their functions. Okay, first organ will be liver. Who remember what is liver? Okay, Firuza.
Liver, it has a wide range of functions, including protein synthesis and production of the biochemicals necessary for digestion.
Digestion, thank you. So next will be gallbladder. Alekhan?
Gallbladder stores bile, produced in the liver.
Thank you. So next organ concerning digestive system will be esophagus. Arjun?
Esophagus is a type that leads to the stomach. The esophagus of an adult human has less of 25–30%.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Next really important organ of digestive system is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland. Zulfia?
Thyroid gland controls how quickly the body produces energy, makes proteins, and controls how sensitive the body should be to other glands.
Okay, thank you. Next organ, pancreas. It's also gland. Camila?
Yes, it supports endocrine that produce several important hormones such as insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin, and the exocrine gland that produce
Exocrinic and endocrinic.
gland that produce pancreas juice containing digestive enzymes that pass to the small intestine.
Okay, thank you. So, cardiac stomach. Radmir?
Cardiac stomach is the contraction of the muscles, moves the bowels to the valve, called cardiac sphincter. And cardiac sphincter allows food passing to the stomach and usually not move back to the esophagus.
Thank you. So, next type of stomach will be pyloric stomach. Please.
Pyloric stomach is a digital cardiac stomach. The pyloric stomach produces its digestive enzymes which breaks down.
Okay, thank you. So, as far as I understand from your answers, you've acquired previous lecture material really good, yes? That's why I think now we can start a new lecture. Today it will be cardiovascular system. So, I will tell you this lecture information with the help of this presentation, and while I will talking, you can write down in your exercise book the necessary information that wouldn't be necessary for you, okay? For preparing your home task, for example. So, introduction to human cardiovascular system. So, cardiovascular system is transport system of body. It comprises blood, heart, and blood vessels. The system supplies nutrients to and remove waste products from various tissue of body. The conveying media is liquid in form of blood, which flows in closed tubular system. So, also in this slide you can see the scheme of the human and the main organs of this cardiovascular system. So, there are heart, capillaries, artery, and vein. So functions of cardiovascular system: transport nutrients, also hormones, remove waste products, gases exchanged between oxygen and between carbon dioxide. Then immunity function that can be carried out by our leukocytes, for example, and blood vessels transport blood. So it carries oxygen and carbon dioxide, also carries nutrients and wastes. Then heart pumps blood throughout blood vessels. So next slide, okay? Components of cardiovascular system. There are blood, heart, and blood vessels. In further slides, we will take some stop in each of them. So blood. Blood consists of blood cells, which also known as formed elements, and plasma. It will be liquid media of the blood. Blood cells are erythrocytes, also known as red blood cells, then leukocytes, also known as white blood cells, and thrombocytes, also known as platelets. And also plasma, it will be a fluid portion of our blood. Next organ of the cardiovascular system is heart. Heart is a four-chambered, hollow muscular organ, approximately the size of your fist. Location of heart: superior surface of diaphragm and left of the midline. Then anterior to the vertebral column, posterior to the sternum. In this slide you can observe the structure of the heart. In the first part of this slide you can see from the point of view location of the heart in our organism, and in the right side of this slide you can observe the structure of heart. Okay, so the blue colored is carbon dioxide rich blood, and the red is oxygen rich blood. So here you can see superior vena cava, left lung, also aorta is the red one, then parietal pleura card, pulmonary trunk, parietal pericardium card, and apex of the heart. And also in the bottom of the heart you can observe the diaphragm. Then the structure also: aorta, pulmonary artery, left atrium, pulmonary veins, semilunar valve, and atrioventricular valve. More detailed, we also will stop on the structure of the heart when we will talk about the two cycles of blood coagulation. Okay. So functions of the heart. I think you have to know this material from the previous courses of the biology that you studied in your school program, yes? But let's remind that first function will be generating blood pressure. As you know, blood pressure can be low and can be higher. At the elder person, in almost all cases, it is higher. Then routine blood, heart separates pulmonary and systemic circulation. There are two major cycles of circulation: pulmonary and systemic. Next one will be ensuring one-way blood flow, and also heart valves ensure one-way flow. Then also regulating blood supply, changes in contraction rate, and force match blood delivery to changing metabolic needs. Yes, as you know, our nutrients comes first of all in our blood, and then they transported to the organs. Yes, first of all, blood helps us to occur the metabolic processes in our organism. So next, blood vessels. There are really big system of blood vessels throughout all our organism. Yes, blood vessels, that's the closed network of tubes. These include arteries, capillaries, and veins. Now we will talk about each of these parameters in certain cue. So first cue: artery, distributing channel, thick wall tubes, elastic fibers, and circular smooth muscle. That's the feature and basic characteristics of arteries. Next, capillaries. Capillaries are microscopic vessels. They are 1 cell thick and serves the respiratory system. And veins, they are draining channel. So classification of blood vessels. First of all, we have 5 classification. One classification that includes 5 parameters. First will be conducting vessels. Second, distributing vessels. Third, resistance vessels, exchange vessels, and capacitance reservoir vessels also. Arteries. First of all, about arteries. You have to know that arteries carry blood away from the heart, and they are thickest blood vessels, and they carry blood high in oxygen, known as oxygenated blood. So we have 2 kinds of blood. First will be oxygenated, that is rich by oxygen, and second will be pure by oxygen. We will talk about it on the next slide. And also here you can see the structure of the artery in the cross cut. Yes? this cross-cut helps us to see the structure from the point of view of tissues of the artery. You have here the Latin names of these tissues also. So, arteries accompanied by vein and nerves, lumen is small, no valves and repeated branching. Classification of arteries, they are elastic, muscular and arterioles. Arterioles size is smaller than 0.1 millimeter. Next. Capillaries. Their size is from 5 to 8 microns. They are smallest blood vessels and they connect the arteries and veins. And second one is this is where the exchange of nutrients and gases. So the metabolic processes, if we are talking about the gas exchange, occurs exactly in capillaries. Okay. Also here you can see the cross-cut of the capillaries for better understanding of each function of capillaries from the point of view of arterial blood and venous blood also. So our body contains two kinds of capillaries. First is continuous and second is fenestrated. If we are talking about the continuous, it can be skin, lungs, smooth muscle and connective tissues. And if we are talking about the fenestrated, they are pancreas, endocrine, small intestine, choroid plexus and ciliary processes. So you have to remember that there are present two kinds of capillaries in our body. Veins. Veins is also blood, carry blood, but back to the heart. If the arteries carry blood to the heart, so veins carry out the opposite function. Yes, they accurate the flowing to the heart. So they have one-way valves which prevent blood from flowing backwards, and they carry blood that's high in carbon dioxide as deoxygenated blood. If previous, when we were talking about the arteries, they were oxygenated blood, yes, red one. So blue one is deoxygenated, which is rich by carbon dioxide. Okay, so here you can see the picture of your hand, and here is shown the varicose veins. Normal vein and varicose vein. Just this is normal vein, and this is not normal varicose vein when the flowing of blood occurs in a little other type, so the valve has to be closed in normal. And when it's not normal, when you have such disease as varicose, it will be open valve, okay? Two differences, normal hand and when you have disease, which is called varicose. The features of veins, their properties, they are thin-walled, large irregular lumen, they have valves, the dead space surrounds, and they are present three types of them, large, medium, and small. So veins, factor responsible for venous return, muscle contraction, negative intrathoracic pressure, pulsation of arteries, gravity and valves. Circulation. So you know from the biology course that in our organism occurs at the same time, yes, two types of blood circulation. So now we will talk about these two major types. Coronary circulation, that the circulation of blood within the heart, yes, all the circulation inside of your heart. Then pulmonary circulation, the flow of blood between your heart and your lungs. Then systematic circulation, the flow of blood between the heart and the cells of body, of all cells. And also fetal circulation. So, two major types of circulation in our organism is pulmonary and systemic. So, pulmonary circulation, the flow of blood between the heart and between your lungs. So it will be, it's shown as red, yes, on this picture, from your heart to your lungs. And systemic circulation, the flow of blood between the heart and the cells of your body. So coronary circulation, that's the arterial supply. Here you can observe the structure of arteria and it will be easier for you to understand how artery supports our blood into heart. Then portal circulation, the flow of blood between tau set of capillaries before draining in system of veins. Fetal circulation is also familiar for you from the biology course, yes? We wouldn't stop on it. Then applied. You know that each system in our organism is responsible for diseases, yes, that occurs in our organism. That's why cardiovascular system is not the exception. We have the diseases that comes from our blood. One of them will be blood pressure. We know that it can be low blood pressure and high blood pressure, yes? There are different symptoms between them. And also blood pressure, high blood pressure is more often present at the elder persons. Then hemorrhageal stroke, it also known as heart attack maybe. This disease is frequently more present at elder persons also. Then atherosclerosis. This disease can be provoked by the food that we eat, yes. If our food and sometimes are maybe too fat, yes, we can provoke this disease. Atherosclerosis is also really dangerous because you know that all the diseases concern our heart, maybe the last diseases that you will have in your life, yes, they can provoke really really serious problems, because also heart, first of all, will be the center of your nutrient supply. And if you have the problem with your heart, with your blood also, it means that other organ systems can't work correct in some cases, yes, that you'll have some really serious diseases that can be pathology in the future also. Then congestive heart failure and also anemia. Anemia is disease that connects with the oxygen in our blood, with the quantity of oxygen that's present. You know that for normal gases exchange, there has to be a necessary amount of oxygen and of carbon dioxide. And where there is much more carbon dioxide than oxygen, we can provoke this disease, anemia. It also have its own symptoms, and this disease can be present even at teenagers and also at adults and also at elder persons. Then hemophilia. Hemophilia is the disease that connected with the blood coagulation, yes. When you have problems with the formation of thromb, yes, in our organism. And leukemia, when there are too much white blood cells or leukocytes in our organism. And leukemia, nowadays it has its own treatment, but not in all cases it can be effective. That's why you have to observe, to make the analysis of your blood for being sure that these formed elements, erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets, are in normal parameters in your blood. Okay, problems with the cardiovascular system are common, but they don't just affect older people. That's the words that I've told you before. And next, many heart problems affect children and teenagers. That's the also I told you about this. So, that was new information for you, yes, but previous we also talk about the cardiovascular system during your school program maybe, yes. That's why, can you tell me, I understand that too much information for you now to tell me. You will talk about this on the next lecture. But first of all, now I want to be sure that you acquired information about the blood circulation cycles. We have two major cycles in our organism. So can you describe these cycles and their difference?
Can I explain?
Okay.
Blood cycle. We know that blood cycle is a closed cardiovascular system. It means that blood never leaves this cycle from the network, like arteries, aortas, veins, and capillaries. So blood cycle divided into two systems. It's like pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. So I want to start from the pulmonary circulation because I think that it's one of the major systems in our organisms, because pulmonary circulation proposes the aims like gas exchange in our organism. It means that poorly for oxygen.
Can I interrupt you? In this picture, the pulmonary circulation, which colored? Red or?
Blue.
Blue, okay. Pulmonary circulation,
Yeah. Blood which poor for oxygen are pumped from the right ventricles, our head, and go to our lungs. Here occurs exchange gas.
Gas exchange here, yes?
Gas exchange here. It means that carbon dioxide deposited onto our legs and oxygen comes to our heart. Here blood reached by oxygen is pumped to our aortas. After aorta it's flowed by arteries.
From here, yes?
It's to arteries and then to capillaries. And previously Missionaries say that in the capillaries occurs the gas exchange between blood and all of the cells in our body. So here's after gas exchanges, you can see in the picture it's the blue ones. It's blood poor to oxygen comes to our heart again. So in the again start.
This was one cycle.
Yes, it is like cycle. So pulmonary circulations, its duration about 8 or 12 seconds, and systematic circulations at about 22-24 seconds. Yes.
So which one is longer?
Systemic circulation.
Okay, thank you. So then, before I told you that our cardiovascular system concerns different, our heart, for example, and one of the major part of cardiovascular system is blood, yes? That's why I've prepared a video lecture for you about the blood, about the formed elements of blood, and about their function, okay? So let's see this video lecture. So types of blood cells.
Types of blood cells. Everybody is familiar with the sight of blood. Is it the red fluid that oozes out of our body when we have sustained a cut or a deep injury? What exactly is blood? Blood is a fluid tissue in the body. It is the medium in which dissolved gases, nutrients, hormones, and waste products are transferred. Blood, along with the heart and the blood vessels, comprises the circulatory system of the body. As a tissue, blood is formed of cells and other components. Let us discuss some more details about the cellular components of blood. Let us understand the method of finding out the composition of blood. Collect a sample of blood and transfer it into sterilized test tubes. Centrifuge the blood samples and observe the separated components under a microscope to study the composition of blood. The components of blood may broadly be divided into plasma and formed elements. First, blood is composed of four major components: plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. You may click on the links to know more. About 55% of blood is plasma, and about 90% of plasma is water. Plasma also contains the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, proteins, and waste products. In the bloodstream, plasma acts as the mode of transportation for blood cells. Formed elements refer to the cellular components of blood. They include cells make up about 1% of blood volume. They are larger than red blood cells, and different types of WBCs can be seen in our blood. Unlike red cells, they are nucleated and independently divine. They can assume funny shapes due to the aneuploid development. White blood cells are the body's main line of defense against infection. Your body needs to have enough white blood cells so you can fight infections and stay healthy. If your white blood cell count is low, it is easier for you to fall sick. When you get sick, like when you have a sore throat, the number of white blood cells goes up higher than normal. This is because your body makes more white blood cells to help you get well. A high amount of white blood cells is a sign of infection in the body. White blood cells identify and attack an invading organism, and they produce the antibodies that attack specific infections. The three types of white blood cells have specific missions in the body's defense. Observe how our immune system works. White blood corpuscles can consume germs by the process of phagocytosis. White blood corpuscles can also kill germs by the production of antibodies. It is the red blood cells that give the red color to our blood. Red blood cells are red only because they contain a protein called hemoglobin, which is bright red in color. Did you notice the shape of RBC? They are bivalve with disc-like structures. Mature cells lack nucleus. These cells are highly flexible, allowing them to squeeze in through the tiniest capillaries. RBCs make up about 45% of blood. Red blood cells perform the most important blood duty. A single drop of blood contains millions of red blood cells, which are constantly traveling through our body, delivering oxygen and removing carbon dioxide. But for them, we wouldn't be alive. RBCs collect oxygen from the lungs and carry it to the cells all over the body. In turn, they transfer carbon dioxide from cells back to lungs. The third type of cells present in our body is called platelets. Platelets are irregularly shaped colorless bodies. Platelets are without nucleus and disc-shaped. Their sticky surface lets them, along with other substances like clots, to stop bleeding. Clotting is the body's normal response to a bleeding injury. To control bleeding from vessels larger than capillaries, a clot must form at the site of injury. When an injury such as a cut occurs, platelets become activated. They change their shape, become sticky, and build up on the wall of a blood vessel to form a plug. Platelets are also involved in the secretion of certain proteins like fibrinogen into the blood plasma. In a complex series of reactions, fibrinogen is converted into fibrin, an insoluble protein that forms an intricate network of tiny threads called fibrils. Blood cells and plasma are tangled in the network of fibrils to form the clot. Can you identify the three structures?
So red blood cells, erythrocytes and leukocytes, yes? So first red blood, second platelet or white. And third is platelet.
You have identified the structures in the figure. Now here is a list of features pertaining to blood cells.
So red blood cells, erythrocytes. Which one? Transports oxygen maybe, yes?
Yes.
Then? Transports oxygen, disc-like structure, and also is mature cell. So leukocyte or white blood cell. No, this one is platelet, yes? Prevents loss of blood, fragment of cells, also causes thrombocytes. And last one is which?
Maybe can change shape.
Can change shape? It's thrombocyte. I think these were mistake, yes, between platelet and between leukocytes, yes? Previous was platelet. The previous was leukocyte, and this one is platelet. And this one is platelet, yes. So, thank you for your activity. Then, for acquiring this information, I want to ask you some questions. First will be, in general, what is blood? As far as you understand, what is blood?
So what is blood fluid in human and animals is that delivers some basic substance like oxygen and nitrogen to the cell and transport metabolic waste from that to this cell.
Okay, thank you. So next question, what is the composition of blood? Its structure? There are really two, easy. Okay?
So blood consists cells like glycotype,
Formed elements, yes?
yes,
And?
glycotype, erythrocyte, and the plasma,
It's a liquid.
and the basics of the blood.
Okay, thank you. So, about the erythrocytes. What are the erythrocytes and also their main functions, structure? Erythrocytes, okay?
Red blood cell. Red blood cell is a type of blood. The primary function is to transport oxygen to the body cells and deliver carbon dioxide to lungs.
Okay, thank you. Next one, leukocytes or white blood cells.
White blood cells is the blood and the cells of the immune system that protects our body from infection and disease. And we put classification leukocytes to the three types: T cells, B cells, and natural killer cells.
Thank you. Next one, last one is platelets or thrombocytes. Okay, Firuz?
One of the smallest molecules of blood. It gives reddish orange color for products. Function of this healing and transport of the carbohydrate and vitamins.
Okay, thank you. Now you'll have last task for today. This task concerns diseases that can be provoked by our cardiovascular system, okay? I will explain you the structure of your problem. It will be, for example, you'll have disease, yes? In general, you'll have 4 diseases. This is first. You'll have disease. Next will be the characteristics of this disease, then will be its symptoms, then treatment, and last problem, your problem, the solution that you have offered for me, it's the name of this disease. So you have the 3 parameters and you have to find. So disease number 1, characteristics, decreasing in the total amount of red blood cells, of RBS, yes, or hemoglobin in the blood, or a lowered ability of the blood to carry oxygen. So symptoms: feel tired, become easily fatigued, appear pale, have a feeling of a heart racing, feel short of breath, and or have worsened heart problems. Treatment of this disease. It can be detected with a simple blood test called a complete blood cell count, or CBS. How do you think, Radmir?
As I know, it should be anemia.
Anemia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the other row, anemia is abnormal concentration of sites in the blood. And the main symptoms of anemia is headache, feel tired, and low activity. Also, one of the most interesting facts that women have more risk to develop anemia than men.
Okay, thank you. And also we know that the level of hemoglobin in our organism from the point of medicine, yes, is different for women and for men. Okay. Next. Disease number 2, also the same problem. About the structure. First, characteristics. Inherited bleeding disorder in which a person likes or has low levels of certain proteins called clotting factors. Yes, that it means that this disease concerns your blood coagulation. Then the blood does not clot properly as a result. So we know that we have clot. Yes, what is clot? When you have injured your body, it will be the accumulation of thrombocytes which will form clot, yes? And when you'll have this disease, this clot wouldn't be formed at all, or its formation will be longer than in normal situation, yes? Because we know that in our blood we have clotting factors. Next, symptoms. Unexplained and excessive bleeding from cuts or injuries or after surgery or dental work. Even if you will visit your dentist, if you'll have this disease, that will be special problems with your blood coagulation inside your mouth. Next, pain, swelling or tightness in your joints, and also blood in your urine or stool. So, treatment. The mainstay of treatment is replacement of the blood clotting factors that I told before. This type of the therapy is known as replacement therapy, and this disease can be inherited also. Can you explain why you decided that it's hemophilia?
Famously known as royal disease because Queen Victoria was passed the medication for hemophilia B to her son and to throw her two daughters, Alice and Beatrice, to the famous royals in the continent, such as Spain, Germany, and Russia. And in Russian history, we have example of hemophilia with Alexei, the son and the heir of Nikolai II. He suffered from
this disease,
which he had gotten from his mother, Empress Alexandra, one of the Queen Victoria's relatives.
Okay, thank you. So, but if you have anemia, for example, you will have headache, yes? Headache also can be provoked by really large size of diseases, yes? And if you have hemophilia, it will be absorbed immediately, because if you will insure it, even though you're small, yes, your blood wouldn't stop. Okay, in almost all cases, that's the disease that can be observed in one time. That wouldn't be any kind of problems with it. So, disease number 3, also characteristics. The cancer of the blood or bone marrow, which produces blood cells, and a person who has such disease suffers from an abnormal production of blood cells, generally leukocytes, white blood cells. The symptoms, the excessive sweating, especially at night, called night sweats, fatigue and weakness that do not go away with rest, then weight loss, bone pain and tenderness, painless, swollen lymph nodes, especially in the neck, you know that we have nodes, yes, lymph nodes, and embrace. So, types of treatment include targeted therapy, interferons, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery, and stem cell transplant. That's also really famous disease. Yeah.
I think that this is Victoria, and I want to comment that scientific that Victoria was discovered by the day. John Bennett made the first diagnosis in Edinburgh in 1925.
Okay, thank you. And leukemia also, you can observe the level of your leukocytes if you will come to any special biochemical laboratory. Yes, they will take the blood from your finger and they will check their level of erythrocytes, leukocytes and thrombocytes in your blood. Yes, they have special normal parameters, yes, and they will check with yours. But in almost all cases when you have leukemia, you have problem with your lymph nodes first of all, then you will lose weight, and the treatment of leukemia is not effective sometimes because it can be progress in future. For example, you'll have leukemia, then you have therapy, and maybe it's possible that after 5 or 10 years you can have it again, yes? Because it's connected with the bone marrow in our organism. Okay, last disease will be your problem. So, characteristics. Group of metabolic diseases in which the person has high blood glucose or blood sugar. Either because insulin production is inadequate or because the body cells do not respond properly to insulin, or both. That's the characteristics. Second, symptoms. Increased thirst and urination, increased hunger, fatigue, blurred vision, numbness or tingling in the feet or hands. Treatment. All types are treatable. Type 1, you have two types of this disease. Type 1 lasts a lifetime. There is no known cure nowadays still. And second one is usually lasts a lifetime. So,
I think it's diabetes. It's a group of metabolic disorders, which high blood sugar levels in the common period. Some of these facts about diabetes. One sort of all people who have diabetes don't know about it. And diabetes have two types. Second type of diabetes don't have any symptoms.
So maybe you can live with it, but you wouldn't know that you have a second type of diabetes. And we know that which gland is responsible for our sugar level in our organism. It's connected, in this case, it's connected with the insulin, yes? So the people who has this disease all the time have to take special insulin pumps, yes, during special period of time. And if there wouldn't be this cure exactly this time, I think there will be some kind of surgery situations, yes. So all the time they have to control the level of insulin in their blood all the time. And this disease also is present at elder persons and teenagers also, yes. That's why it's necessary to also to go to the endocrinologists, yes. These type of doctors can take control over this disease. Okay, so nowadays, today, what we have in result, we will talk about the cardiovascular system, yes, we talk about the heart structure, we talk about our veins and capillaries, also we talk about the blood composition, about these formed elements, about the plasma, about its function, and also we've stopped on the diseases. I think diseases is too important for us nowadays, because if you know the symptoms of these diseases, you can prevent them, yes? And also you know that as biotechnologists you can choose the pharmaceutical or medical branch of this specialty, yes? That's why nowadays for all kind of these diseases, not only doctors today or really big scientists find the injurious necessary, but also biotechnologists nowadays find the treatment of these diseases, yes? Maybe with the special plants that have this biological active substance, for example, that can stop the increasing of white blood cells, yes? We know such kind of researchers. Maybe you'll invent some treatment for this disease as diabetes, it also can be happened, yes. With the help of biotechnologists, we can find this solution. That's why to know the symptoms of these diseases is also important for you. And as your home task, I'm suggesting you to learn more, you can write down it, to learn more about the diseases that can be, that can occur in our cardiovascular system, okay? In cardiovascular, also 5, maybe 4 diseases. Also, you have to better understand their characteristics, their symptoms, and their treatment, okay? Maybe we have new researches concerning special plants, yes, medical plants that can be used a potential raw material for creation some kind of treatment, yes. That's why your home task will be to find out and to learn more 5 diseases concerning your cardiovascular system, okay. So also I want to tell you about the application of biotechnology concerning your blood diseases. For example, during my doctoral dissertation, I researched one kind of plant which is called Lagahilus, which grows in the territory of South Kazakhstan. Actually, this plant is really unique because it possesses blood activity. Some species of this plant possess blood coagulation properties, yes, some kinds. These plants can be used when you have blood coagulation, if you will make the treatment with the use of this plant. Another group of this plant, also of this plant, in the opposite can have styptic properties, not styptic, can like recoagulate your blood. So this plant all grows here. This is unique plant, endemic plant, because it grows only in South Kazakhstan. And nowadays we have this plant in the form of extract that was prepared by me, and we've tested this plant in the special laboratory on the animals when they have surgery. Animals, for example. You know that during surgery can be really unexpected situations when there can be large blood coagulation, yes, when there will be a problem with the blood coagulation. That's why when you'll use the extract of this plant, during 5 or 10 minutes, your bleeding will be stopped with the use of extract of this plant. And also nowadays in other countries become to grow up this plant, but you know that for growing plant necessary special conditions, yes. For example, in other country like Iran, you can't make conditions like in South Kazakhstan, yes, we have own climate, we have own soil, and that's why there's species of this plant which grows there will be different from other. But our species that grows exactly in South Kazakhstan nowadays considered as the most effective, which possess hemostatic action. And nowadays we've prepared extract of this plant, but also in future we're planning to make tablets and to make like clinic examination. But because maybe we can use this drug not only for animals but also in the human surgery situations, yes.